Good morning, students. Yesterday we had done about the taxonomic hierarchy, if you remember. Hierarchy, ranks, category, position when it comes to plants and animals. You people had made those wonderful sentences also related to taxonomical hierarchy. You can frame your own sentence, or if you can take any other sentence which somebody else has framed and you find it easy and convenient to learn. A very fast revision, if you remember, we had done this KD of GS. So, and taking this all KD of GS, we had already done up to F. We said closely related species form genus, closely related genus form family. Now we are going to start from the next one, that is order. So we are going to start from which hierarchical rank today? We are going to start from order. We have already done, we started with the lowest one, that was species, and we said closely related species can be put in one genera. Many closely related genera can be put in one family. Now we are going to start with the next category, that is order. Obviously, I am very sure you are very confident now how to define an order, beta. Related families, a group of related families that have some similar characters is what we call as an order. Group of families which have some similar characters or related characters is what we call as order. Always keep in mind what I told you yesterday. The higher the level of the hierarchy, the less is the similarity between the members. The maximum similarity between the members will be found in the species level. So today I am talking about order. If I compare the similarities between members of a family and members of an order, then very simple, the members of an order will have less similarity as compared to the members of the family. Maximum similarities in species, a little less in genus, a little more less in family, and today what we are doing is order. Order is made up of some closely related families. They have some similarities, but remember that the number of similarities are comparatively very less if you count and compare it with the similarities found in the member of species. So we have reached this level, that is order. What is order? It is a group of related families that have some similar characteristics. Of course, these are less as compared to the similarities in species and in what? And in genus. For example, let me give you an order. Example. See, I have written on the board Canidae. C-A-N-I-D-A-E. Canidae. Is it okay? Canidae, C-A-N-I-D-A-E. This Canidae consists of dog, wolf and fox. Dog, wolf, fox. Now keep in mind, think about a dog, think about a wolf and think about a fox. Outer appearance, you will not find many similarities in them. This is what I am trying to tell you, that when we go higher in a level, you will find that the similarities become less and less. I was talking about Canidae. See, Canidae, what am I talking about? Canidae, the members are dog, wolf and fox. They are not very similar. Next one which I have taken up is Felidae. F-E-L-I-D-A-E, Felidae. The members are cat, tiger and lion. Cat, tiger, lion. Now compare a cat with a tiger and a lion. Obviously for a layman there would be no similarities, but if you see, they have been put together under Felidae. Another example I am taking is Solanaceae. Potato and tomato. They have been put together in Solanaceae. You will find that there are not many similarities in them, but later when you will study about it, you will certainly get to know that there are some similarities. That is why they have been put together in Solanaceae. I have given you 3 examples. A very fast revision is Canidae. C-A-N-I-D-A-E, this is Canidae, which includes dog, wolf and fox. The second one I have taken is Felidae. Felidae includes cat, tiger and lion. The third one which I have taken is Solanaceae. Solanaceae includes potato and tomato. We have done up to this much. We did species, we did group, we did family, we did order. Now, I am just trying to tell you what I am trying to tell you is, let's talk about 2 orders. Now, after order, if you see, the next level is what we have class. So, the definition would again be very simple. What is a class? It includes members of orders which are closely related to each other. Different orders closely related to each other are put in what? Are put in the next category. Are put in the next category what we call as class. Is it okay? Now see the orders. I have taken 2 orders, Primata and Carnivora. Which 2 orders have I taken? Primata and Carnivora. See, Primata, the members are monkey and gorilla. Primata, the members are monkey and gorilla. Carnivora, I have taken the examples of tiger and cat. You will be amused to know that both the orders, Primata, Carnivora, are put together in the class Mammalia. We put them together in which class? Mammalia. Now, class is what? Class is a group of closely related orders. What example I gave you? I gave you the example of class Mammalia, which is made up of or which consists of two orders. Of course, there are more. I am just discussing two: Primata and Carnivora. Which two? Primata and Carnivora. See the members of Primata: monkey and gorilla. Carnivora, it's tiger and cat. Now we are putting the cat along with monkey, gorilla, tiger. The similarities seem to be obviously very less. But very simple. How do you define a class? Class is what, beta? It is a collection or it is a group of closely related orders. Closely related orders. I took example of two orders: Primata, Carnivora. Both the orders, Primata and Carnivora, belong to which class? They belong to the class Mammalia. So we have done up to class now. Moving on to the next one, that is division or phylum. Yesterday when we did the formulas, we did KD of GS or we did KP of GS. So I am taking it together, phylum or division. If you see in this formula, you will very clearly see that this is a category which is higher than class. It comes above the class, it is higher than class, but it is lower than the kingdom. It is higher than which category? Class, but it is lower than kingdom. Now, this phylum which is generally used, if you see, when we talk about P, phylum, that is used for animals, and when we use the word D, then we are talking about plants. KP and KD. You remember? When I say P, I am talking about animals, a phylum. When I am talking about division D, then I am talking about plants. Phylum, let me give you an example, phylum Chordata. Which phylum have I taken? Chordata. It has many classes. Phylum is which one? Chordata. It has many classes. For example, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, Mammalia. I am giving you 5 examples of classes. 5 classes I am taking. Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Is it okay for everybody? See, so many classes together. I have put together all of them, all 5 classes have been put together in one phylum, and the phylum is Chordata. What is the phylum? Chordata. So what is phylum? It's a group of closely related classes. Very simple. The example is very clear for everybody. Let me take a very fast revision of what I have done, beta. We did what is order? Order consists of closely related families. I give you an example. Then we moved on to next one, the next category, that was class. Class, I gave you an example of class Mammalia, and 2 orders which included in the class Mammalia, they are Primata and Carnivora. Class is Mammalia, orders are Primata, Carnivora. When I moved on to the next category, that is division or phylum. Phylum is Chordata, and it includes 5 classes: Pisces, Amphibia, Reptile, Aves and Mammalia. Moving on to the top one, that is kingdom. This is the highest category. Okay, this is the highest category, so obviously the similarities have to be the least. All the animals have been put into one kingdom, which is known as Animalia. Now if you compare a rat or you compare a tiger, all of them have been put together. All of them have been put together in one kingdom, that is Animalia. So you see the similarities are very, very less. As we go higher in the hierarchy level, the similarities keep on decreasing. And this is the highest level, so similarities have to be the least. All the animals have been put in one kingdom, that is known as Animalia. And all the plants have been put in one kingdom, that is known as Plantae. What is the name of this kingdom? It is Plantae. I think in class 9th, if you remember, you did Whittaker's classification. R.H. Whittaker. You heard his name, I am very sure. R.H. Whittaker, he gave the 5 kingdom classification. R.H. Whittaker is known for which kingdom classification? 5 kingdom classification. It was somewhere in 1969 when R.H. Whittaker came up with this classification of how many kingdoms? 5 kingdoms. He said Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Okay? Is it okay for everybody? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. That is, I told you about obligatory or compulsory kind of groups. If you remember, I had discussed about categories which were obligatory categories. That means compulsory categories. You have to give a name, you have to give a species, you have to give the name of a genus or a kingdom. These are all obligate categories. Species, genus, family, order, class, division, kingdom, they are all which categories? They are obligate categories. It is compulsory. You have to mention about them. Apart from these obligate categories, we have another group of categories which are known as intermediate categories. What are they called? Intermediate categories. They are accessory categories. They just help you, they just facilitate you in classification. What are these categories called as? Intermediate categories. You may mention about them, you may not mention about them. It generally helps a person in identifying, classifying and giving a name to a species. Like in kingdom, you may have a subcategory, subkingdom. In phylum, you may have a subcategory, subphylum. In class, we have subcategory which is known as subclass, or we have another name for this, infraclass. So if the word infraclass that means it is a subdivision or a subclass. Similarly, order, we have superorder and suborder. Okay, we've taken an order. Okay, and within the order, we have made different categories. Similarly, family can be put into subfamily. So species, if we have seen over here, kingdom, subkingdom, phylum, subphylum, class, subclass, order, suborder, similarly family, subfamily. What are these called as? These are called as intermediate categories. They are not compulsory. They are just made to help people when they are identifying, classifying or nomenclating, that means giving name to a species. Now, we had done about taxonomical aids. If you remember, 5 main taxonomical aids I did with you. There are 3 very unimportant taxonomical aids, but still, let's not miss out on anything. So, I am taking up today in this. Apart from those 5 main taxonomical aids which we did, herbarium and all if you remember, we have 3 more taxonomical aids. They just help us a little. The first one is flora. What is it called? Flora. What does flora do, beta? It gives all the information on taxonomy, nomenclature, description data for newly discovered plants. Newly discovered plants, for example, habitat. It will give you all the information. Supposing you've discovered a plant which is aquatic. So, you've got identification keys now. Only for which one? You look for a habitat first. You look for which habitat? Aquatic habitat. Go and search for that aquatic wala flora thing and you will find many keys. Then keep continuing with the keys, you will be able to classify the organism. So what does flora give you? It gives you information. It gives you information of the habitat, it helps you in identification keys, it helps you in describing a newly found plant or any data which is newly discovered. Remember, this word flora is only used for plant. Any info, any key which you are getting, okay, for plants, we use the word flora. There is another one which is known as monograph. The word mono means one. I am sure you know this. Monograph, this is a comprehensive information of one taxon. We are not dealing all the taxons together. We have made a separate booklet only for one taxon. That is what we call as monograph. What is there in monograph? All the information is collected about that taxon. Now, any new member which is found of that taxon, side by side, it is kept on adding. We keep on adding that new member which has been found, and whatever organisms are available, whatever new information we are getting, we keep adding it to it and keep comparing the morphological variations. Okay, these were the organisms I earlier had in this taxon. The new ones have come. These are the new ones. Is there any variation in the ones I had earlier and the ones I have now? So that variation study also goes on simultaneously, but remember, it is only the detailed data information of only one taxon. We have separate monographs for separate taxons. So, if only one taxon you need to study, you will need to add on and reach even the latest information about that taxon, then we should opt for what? We should opt for monograph. Because each little new information added about that taxon, each member discovered and added to that taxon is added on to the previous information. So, this is monograph. The third one is manual. What is it? Manuals. Manuals are very easy. They just give you information for identifications of names. And you will find a list of species found in a particular area. It's very easy. Like they have an index. They give you the names of all the species found in that area and their habitats, their nature, their characters. How does this manual help? It gives information. It gives information for identification. In case there is a new species found, this will give you information so that you can identify the new organism. So 3 more I have taken up aids. The first is flora, which will give you the habitat information, which will give you identification keys only for plants. We have monograph, which will contain all the comprehensive information only about one taxon and the third is manual. This gives you information for identification of names, species, but remember, of a particular area. Now, I am taking up some differences of this chapter. The first difference is taxon and category. Don't get confused. Taxon and category. What is taxon? Taxon is a group of living organisms. Okay? Any group of living organisms is what we call as taxon. Human beings, we are what? We are taxons. So what is taxon? It is a group of living organisms. Then what is category? Category indicates the rank or the status of that taxon. Category will give you the rank of that particular taxon. Let me explain it to you with the help of an example. In case of humans beta, we have the order as primates. Humans are put into which order? We are put into the order primates. So primates is the taxon. Primates is the taxon and category is the order. Category means rank. Category means species, genus, family, order, class, division, kingdom. This is what we call as category. And each individual, human beings, cats, dog, whatever we are talking about, there are different taxons. So each taxon may have its own category. Each taxon has its own order, has its own family. So this is how we proceed. Another difference is between taxonomy and systematics. It's very easy. Study of identification, classification and nomenclature. Identification, classification and nomenclature according to set rules is what we call as taxonomy. What is taxonomy? It is a study of identification, classification and nomenclature according to set rules. But remember, only three things are written. What is it? Identification, classification and nomenclature. But if I add on the evolutionary history of that organism, that means if I take into consideration the phylogenetic characters, when I use the word phylogenetic characters, I mean the evolutionary history of an organism. So if I include the phylogenetic characters or I take into or add into these three things the evolutionary history, then it is systematics. So what is systematics then? First let me tell you what is taxonomy. Identification, classification and nomenclature. Then what is systematics? Study of identification, classification, nomenclature and evolutionary history. Or you can use the word phylogenetic character. Just add this one word to these three words and you get what is systematics. That I told you about metabolism. If you remember, I told you every living organism has certain chemicals in their body and these chemicals keep on undergoing certain chemical reactions and they are converted into biomolecules. But all these reactions which take place in the body are basically of two types. Either they are constructive reactions or they are destructive reactions. Is it okay? Either they are constructive or they are destructive. When I use the word constructive, I mean from simple substances, something complex is being made. Some simple substances, complex is being made. If I say destructive reactions, it means from complex substance is breaking down into something simple. So metabolic reactions can be both the types, constructive as well as destructive. We have specific words in biology for these. Listen carefully. They are anabolic reactions and catabolic reactions. Anabolic reactions and catabolic reactions. If your reaction is constructive, it is called anabolic. If the reaction is constructive, it is called anabolic. But if it is destructive, then it is called a catabolic reaction. See, then what is metabolism? The sum total of all anabolic reactions plus catabolic reactions is what we call as metabolism. So to remember simply, metabolism is equal to anabolism plus catabolism. Now, let's take an example of anabolic and catabolic reactions. It will be easier for you to understand. See, when we say anabolic reactions, we are making complex substances from simple ones. For example, photosynthesis. We take some very simple substances. Water is there. Is it okay? In the presence of light, what else? CO2 is there. Some simple substances are taken up and a complex substance is prepared. The best example is photosynthesis. When I talk about which reaction? Anabolic reactions. Moving on to the catabolic reactions. What happens in catabolic reactions? Some complex substance is broken down into simple substances. I think respiration is the best example if you can remember. The best way to remember anabolic reactions, the example is photosynthesis. Catabolic reactions, the example is what it is? It is respiration. A very fast difference between anabolic and catabolic reactions. Anabolism is the sum total of all the, which kind of reactions? The constructive reactions. So what will be catabolism? It is the sum total of all destructive reactions. Second point is, A complex substance is formed from a simple substance. In which reactions? In anabolic. And what happens in catabolic? Just the ulta beta. Some simple things are formed from the complex substances. The third one. In anabolic reactions, energy is stored. And in catabolic reactions, energy is released. If you remember in respiration, energy is released. And I told you respiration is a catabolic reaction. So, energy is released. Okay, it is released in which reactions? It is released in catabolic reactions. The last difference is, anabolic reactions are required for growth and maintenance, whereas catabolic reactions are required for performance of activities. They are required for what? Performance of activities. You need energy to perform activities. That is why which reactions take place in the body? Catabolic. So what have we done in today's video? We just continued and told you order. It's a sum together of families. Class, sum together of close related orders. Division of phylum, sum together of classes. And kingdom includes the what? Sum total of all the divisions of phyla. Then I told you about intermediate categories. Those categories which are not compulsory, not mandatory. They are not obligatory. Accessory categories, subcategories. Then we discussed 3 more taxonomical aids, that is flora, which is generally used for plants. We discussed about monograph, which gives you all the comprehensive information about one taxon. We discussed about manuals, which give you information for identifications of names and species in a particular area. We did the difference between taxon and category. I told you taxon is a group of living organism and category indicates the rank or the position of that particular living organism. Okay, then we did taxonomy and systematics. Taxonomy includes what? Identification, classification and nomenclature. But if you add on phylogenetic characters or you add on evolutionary history, it becomes systematics. Metabolism consists of destructive and constructive reactions. Anabolism, catabolism. Anabolism is constructive reactions where from simple substances, complex substances are formed. I gave you the example of photosynthesis. Catabolic reactions are destructive reactions where from complex substances, simple substances are formed. Most important thing, energy is stored in anabolic reactions and energy is released when it comes to catabolic reactions. I hope this is quite simple. If there is still any doubt, you can always post me on my personal number. Thank you.